What time is it?
It's 9:08.
Oh, 9:08. All right. It's crime time. And we have got the Chief of Police, Steve Ignacio. We're checking in with him. They had a big press conference last week about Project U, which is some good news out of all of the crazy stuff that's been going on. So let's just start there, Chief, about Project U.
Okay, yeah, so Project U is a collaboration it's a program under our Safe Schools initiative, and it's a collaboration of many different government and not-for-profit organizations. So tonight is our orientation with all the 12 youth that have been selected for the program and that will be participating. So we're excited. The governor and the lieutenant governor will be there tonight to address them as well. So we can't wait to get this off the ground. First week is next week.
So tell me, what are they going to be doing after they get their training? What's next?
Oh, they're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. You know, we have different theme days. So I think Monday is Mentor Mondays. There's forget what Tuesday is. We have Wellness Wednesday. That's our Guam Behavioral Health. They'll be coming in and talking to them about different aspects of mental health and well-being. I believe Thursday is Trades Thursdays, so they'll be over at Guam Trades Academy. We have a partnership with them. Going to teach them how to operate, basic hand tools, do some rigging, and a little bit of HVAC and stuff. And then I think it's Fun Fridays with Thrive Coalition or Manila, one of the two. And then, they'll be doing a bunch of different sports activities. We have an opportunity on Mentor Mondays with GPD. I believe we're going to schedule them, if weather permits, to go on a boat ride with our different our boats that we have in the fleet, and just doing a bunch of other fun stuff. Maybe even highway patrol, hook them up and show them how a laser instrument works and how we do speed traps and stuff. So yeah, we're excited. I hope the kids are excited. Our partners are very excited. First ever summer youth camp for children, sponsored by the Guam Police Department.
Well, we're excited to see. I know that you guys are going to have a presence online with social media, right? So we can kind of follow their journey. So good luck as you guys prepare for this summer camp. And as you mentioned today, the first training will be today. So.
Yep, we're excited. We're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chief, I wanted to ask, there was a bill regarding a retirement for law enforcement. Are you testifying on that, or any thoughts?
This is Senator Pito Talai's.
I have seen the press release from Senator Pito Talai's office. I haven't read the entire bill yet. I think the bill was just proposing $75,000 to do the study for law enforcement. He had a very good press release, and he identified how some of the other states or jurisdictions have a different retirement program for those in public safety and law enforcement. I read with interest every once in a while. There are some jurisdictions, I believe like the Sandy Hook shooting spree. There was officers that were retired because of the trauma they were exposed to. And currently you can join the Guam Police as early as 18, 19 years old, go through training, but then you're gonna have to work until you're 62 years old in the Guam Police Department to retire. And I think that's just, I just don't agree with that. It's 40 plus years of work. I mean, you can do 20 years of work for other federal governments and retire. And you can work for 20 years in the military, retire, come out. There were a couple of officers in my training academy who were retired military. After 20 years, came in, joined the Guam Police Department, and retired again 20 years, under the old plan. So, right. You can have two careers basically with just one joining the Guam Police Department in today's age. So yeah, I mean, the other thing to consider is, 62-year-old policeman running around or trying to run around to chase an 18-year-old burglar. It just doesn't equate. I don't think it's going to happen. And so, we need to look at, really what is reasonable considering what we experience, the trauma that we're exposed to. I mean, how many other jobs, like maybe fire ourselves, maybe nurses and doctors, but really, how many other jobs are you exposed to a decapitated human being, right? Or the trauma of having to deal with a crash scene, of an auto pedestrian. Those are very traumatic events. Those are things that we're exposed to. Those things take its toll on you, both physically but also mentally. And so, having to hang in there for 40 plus years, having to be exposed to that kind of trauma, it's I look forward to the bill. I look forward to the hearing, but more importantly, I look forward to the study and see if if it's feasible for the public safety, law enforcement in particular, to have a retirement plan.
Just for clarification, Chief, under the old plan, is it also 62 years old, or is it just under this hybrid plan?
No, I think it's just under this hybrid. No, it's just under the 401k plan. The hybrid plan is a little bit different. It kind of mimics, is my understanding, it kind of mimics the old retirement plan. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't heard when the public hearing is for the bill. But just to give a couple of examples, because you mentioned that it was something that Senator Pito Terlahi pointed out. So he said that he introduced Bill 137 because every single state in the country has a separate retirement consideration for firefighters, public safety employees, and other uniformed personnel in recognition of the physically demanding nature of the work. Workers under the new hybrid plan in Guam cannot retire until the age of 62, which is one of the oldest ages for retirement for public safety employees in the nation. So, for example, in Hawaii, state and local police officers, firefighters, other public safety personnel, they can retire at age 55 with 25 years of service, or 60 years of age with 10 years of service. In California, law enforcement, fire suppression, state highway patrol, conservation officers, youth authority officers can retire at the age of 50 with at least 5 years of service. So those are just a couple. He has actually a long list of other jurisdictions.
I wonder if this kind of begs a question that we need to look at the retirement plan overall and, as a whole, because it's definitely different than what it, my grandpa's retirement was way different than what's going on now. I mean, for both law enforcement, obviously, and everyone else.
Right. Yeah. And I do know. I think I'm not an expert in retirement. I'm an expert in government finance. Throughout the whole gamut of government. But I do know that retirement plans are a costly, or are a big cost to governments. And I think there are some governments in some states and jurisdictions whose retirement plans have actually either caused a big burden financially on the governments because they have to pay these pensions or whatever the liabilities are. But I root for my officers. I advocate for my officers, and anything that we can do to shorten that retirement period, because like I said, I don't think it's reasonable to think that a 62-year-old police officer should be working. I mean, I think 55, maybe a little bit around that age is acceptable. I think in the federal government, so just an example, the latest you can join any of the federal government law enforcement agency is 37, and the most you can work is up to the age of 57, right? So 20 years. So something to consider. At least that's my basic understanding. Right. In some of these job announcements that I read.
Yeah. Chief, I wanted to follow up on a couple of other R words aside from retirement, but you had resignation, retention, recruitment. Those are some of the things we talked about the last time you were on. And there was a public hearing from Senator James Moylan's bill. And you also mentioned that there was supposed to be, I think, a Hay study that you were informed that Adelup would be commencing at some point, where there would be this prioritization of public safety personnel in this wage compensation study. So, first of all, has anybody else resigned from GPD?
Well, in the past 2 weeks, I signed an additional 7 resignations in the past 2-3 weeks. Yeah, at least 2 or 3 weeks. I've signed at least 7 resignations that I can think of. And seven people is one entire shift at one of the precincts. That's what we call 115. 1 supervisor, 1 dispatch officer, and 5 patrol officers.
What are some of the reasons, Chief?
Better pay is the top one. One actually put down he's leaving to a federal government job because of better pay, better retirement is what he talked about, and better benefits. I've mentioned this before. I talked to Chief Ignacio from the airport, the executive manager. I was looking for a little bit people to offset some of the shortages because of that COVID outbreak that we had down in the ISOFAC. And he goes, Chief, I'd love to help you, man, but I lost 11 people to Navy police. And that kind of floored me because I thought I was the only one losing people, but he lost 11. I think he said 11 or 12. I've probably lost about 6 people in total, probably since the beginning of the year, sometime late last year, to Navy police. So I think what we're hearing is that the Navy police, of course, is posturing up because of the new Marine Corps base. They have a lot more footprint, and so they need a lot more people. Somebody shared with me a link to a job that the Navy police was offering for a police instructor. They're offering $60,000 starting pay for a police instructor. And, that's for a job here locally. So, it's just very interesting times. If we don't step up, we don't start to offer a better pay for our police officers, we're going to lose them. And Customs and Border Protection is one other place where I've probably lost about 5 or 6 officers over the past 2 years because, there's a crisis at the border and they need more officers. And so, they're just picking up people. And so I lost one just recently. He's one of the 7 that resigned. No sooner did he turn in his resignation, one of his fellow officers that worked in the same office with him says, I have an interview with them. So I'm going to take some time off to take an interview. So it's really crazy time.
Maybe we need to send some of the boys over to Uncle Sam and be like, Alpha Gatson, why you keep taking our guys?
Well, it's just like anything else, right? We all lose people to other jobs, whether they pay more, better work environment, better equipment. I don't know. I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons, but I think the most common reason is better pay.
Right.
But what do you expect when you're only paying a police officer $11 an hour? When he comes in as a recruit, $11 to put on a whole bunch of equipment and go out there and risk his life and and not know if he's going to get shot at or he's going to have to draw his gun and shoot at somebody. That's $11 an hour. When he graduates a year later, he gets $14 an hour. I'm still about $2 less than the Navy police. I think their starting pay is about 16 some an hour. Port police officer makes $18 an hour starting.
Wow.
Police officer 1.
Dang.
So Dr. Fee was very very good at pointing that out, and I didn't know that until Dr. Fee, one of my special projects coordinators, started to look into these pay disparities.
Yeah.
And he found that out, and we were just blown away.
Well, I feel like people are resigning right now with this information coming out. But Chief, that's crazy to have the pay discrepancy between the local and the federal government, but even within the local government to see that wide of a pay disparity, agency to agency, it's nuts.
Yeah, it is. But again, the Port Authority gets to set their own pay scale, because they have their own the law that allows them to do that.
Mm-hmm. So you said 7. How much total since January would you say have resigned or retired from GPD?
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I definitely can. I'll WhatsApp you. I'll let you know how many people resigned.
Anything
from January to present.
Anything new with the drug test results?
I know we did more than 115 went from my last report. As recent as last week, there were still additional drug tests to be done. I don't have the final number, but what I do know is that all drug tests completed, all have come back negative.
Okay. All right.
So that's a good thing.
Okay, Chief.
Anything else?
Anything juicy?
No.
Oh,
no, not here.
Sorry, Chief, just before, because I know you got a meeting, but AG said that he's coming up with a deadly force policy. Any comment on that?
I know. So last week we had a meeting between myself, the AG, and the other law enforcement agencies on Guam. And what we did is we have a draft MOU that we're reviewing for us to affix our signature to at a later time. But what it is really is that we're going to use the same process and procedure that we did in the Xavier Tatalto shooting. So, doing that independent investigation by the AGs, us moving forward, on our internal affairs investigation, calling in an outside agency if we need to do so, like we did with that case when we called in Customs to assist and take the lead, and of course, we did that press release last week, from the U.S. Attorney's Office that they've done a review of the case and they're not going to move forward at this point.
All right. Well, thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a good morning.
Okay,
Stay
Chief.
safe.
Have a good meeting.
Yes.
Right on.